everyone, it's Jenn, the board game librarian, and today we have another book review. Today we're going to be looking at Emily Henry's latest, which came out a couple of months ago, The People We Meet on Vacation. In The People We Meet on Vacation, which was published in 2021, Emily Henry as the author, we have Poppy and Alex. They've known each other since they were freshmen in college. When they meet on at a college party and then bond over a road trip back home to their somewhat smallish town in Ohio. They're both going to university in Chicago and pursuing different things that they're interested in. Poppy is doing communications. She ends up becoming a well-known travel blogger, and Alex eventually ends up becoming a high school English teacher, working on his master's and then his PhD in English literature. But the thing that they bond over is traveling. Every summer for 1 week, they meet together at a desired location. Sometimes in their early traveling days, they start off by going somewhere really cheap, on the wicked cheap, because as young college students, that's about what they can afford, up until their most recent trips, 10 to 12 years later, when Poppy is working for R&R magazine. They can have much more lavish and expensive trips. Over that week, they bond, they have great memories together, they meet new people, do different things, have a lot of fun together. They're clearly very good friends, Poppy and Alex. But 2 years ago in Croatia, something happened, and nothing has been the same since then. And in those 2 years, Poppy and Alex haven't talked to each other. Poppy lives in New York City, and Alex is back home in Ohio, and not a text, not a call, nothing. There's been silence. So Poppy is at a point in her life and in her career where she's thinking she needs to make a change, and she speaks with her New York City best friend Rachel, and Rachel's like, when were you the happiest? And Poppy decides that she was the happiest when she was traveling with Alex. So she calls him up or texts him, starts a texting chain, and they end up going on a trip out to California. Alex's brother is getting married, and they're going to do this trip. Poppy says that R&R magazine is going to foot the bill for this. It's going to be palm trees, beach, poolside, quite a fun vacation. But does that actually happen? And what happens to Poppy and Alex? Are they just friends? Can they remain that way? That's kind of for you to figure out, and I won't spoil it. This is a romance quite broadly, but it's not. It's like some of the romances that I've talked about consistently in the past weeks. Emily Henry writes romances, but with quite a bit more substance. Beach Read last year was one of my favorite books of the year. I absolutely loved it. It tells the story of a young woman who ends up going to clean out her father's beach house, and how things end up going from there. She sees someone that she had known a very long time ago, and sparks fly. But it was a very appropriate book for where I was at that particular point in my life. And I really connected with this book. And it actually inspired me to pick up my own writing pen again and to write my own story. I haven't done that. It's been a year. But the spark of inspiration is still there, and I credit a lot of that to Beach Read. So Emily's main characters in our books tend to be writers or creative types. I like that's a common thread between her stuff. But I didn't care for this book as much as I loved Beach Read. I think my expectations were kind of high for this. It's not her writing. Her writing is excellent. She writes her characters very well. Excellent character development, scene and setting. Get that. I think there's great chemistry between characters too. But it just wasn't Beach Read. So if you're reading this and you haven't read Beach Read yet, you might really like this. This is a really good book. The romance is there, and it's an open door romance, but it's not as graphic as maybe How to Fail at Flirting, which I did a couple of weeks ago, or The Hate You Give, The Hating Game. Hating game, I think. So that's, I mean, you would take that or leave that. It's definitely a slow burn. Her books are slow burns. So I don't know. This is a tough call on this one. I really did like it, but I'm not sure it's one that I would recommend as much to folks. I think it's a great cover on here. I love the orange. A great character development in here too. She separates the chapters between the present summer and the summers past, so you get a description of all the trips that they went on and to see how their relationship really grows over the years. I really liked that, and how they change as people too. There's tons of that. So I don't know. This was like a 3.5, 3.75. Not bad at all. Better than some of the others that I've read recently, especially second, first impressions. But yeah, I liked this. This was a decent summer read. That's today's review of The People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. Thanks.